Hello, everyone. Sean Ward here again, Ward and Fifth Consulting, here to deliver the final lecture of, again, maybe not the sexiest part of doing business, but one of the most necessary if you're planning to take your brand to the next level to drive sales. And when you drive sales, that drives revenue. And when you drive revenue, you have a much more comfortable life and more dollars in your pocket. So, in this lecture, we're going to talk about your licensing agreement. And if you remember from previous lectures, your licensing is when you're looking to grow your brand's offerings without actually manufacturing those type of products yourself. And when you get to this point, it's basically, it's almost printing money because you don't have to invest anything in it. You have another manufacturer who specializes in that type of product, who's going to be designing, developing, manufacturing, marketing, and selling product with your trade name. And then you're going to be basically picking up checks, residual checks, commissions, whatever you want to call it. Royalties is the correct term, from anywhere between 5 and 10%. And when you're doing that, life is very good if you get to this level. So let's move to that form that we're going to have. This is a standard agreement that you can use. I can actually, I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you guys can see this a bit more. All right, so this is a 9-page agreement. As you remember from the previous lecture with the international distribution agreement, that was 11 pages. This is 9. Again, it's just going through everything that needs to be done in order to protect you. So as I mentioned before, contact me if you want a copy. I will email you through the platform or go to our website and I'll email you back. But let's just go through it. First page basically outline who the agreement is between. It's between your company, and here it's basically Detney Footwear, and basically the company that you're going to be doing business with. You'll see you want to put the date up there also. And then you go preambles, or basically a little bit of just defining who basically some of these people are who are actually going into this agreement. Where SNS going to be referring to Shane and Sean, includes the company who you're doing business with, or business of designing products and selling, in this case, sportswear, hats, t-shirts. So say, for instance, you were doing business with a fragrance company, that would be in here, okay? And basically just defining who everyone is, the trademarks, principal marks, etc. Article 1, new brands licensing. So the principal mark, sales and marketing, basically this is for sales and distribution, and that the licensor will have the exclusive license in the United States for the Shane and Sean men's and women's sportswear. So that includes t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and jackets. Now, if you remember, Shane and Sean is only manufacturing footwear. So when we were looking to get into apparel at the time, we were going to sign an agreement with a company to actually do all the apparel, because we as a brand do not manufacture those products. A great way for us to grow and offer all these different items without having to take that overhead ourselves. So a great type of deal to go into. Going again, basically just saying that, and this is very important, is that Shane and Sean has final approval on all wholesale and retail pricing. So for instance, no licensing company can go and start to manufacture goods. So if we're known as a $200 footwear brand, we don't want this licensing company going out and selling $5 t-shirts, right? $10 jackets. We want to basically keep that product at the same price level, so the same retailers can buy it, the same consumer can buy it, and it doesn't diminish or hurt the brand by having a cheaper price point on it. So if they try to start manufacturing goods with a lower price point, we basically can shut that down right away because we have final approval on that. It goes into target distribution. For the calendar year 2010, we say that the online sales, logistics, shipping will be handled by the licensing company with e-commerce page at shaneandshawn.com. So basically, we were actually going to use this company to sell the products on our website. 2011 and beyond, full price retailers, we were approving retailers such as Macy's, Dillard's, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Barney's Co-op, et cetera, et cetera. And if there were going to be any off price retail accounts, those would consist of TJ Maxx, Burlington, DSW, et cetera. And it's understood that the licensing company and Shane & Shawn have to mutually agree on distribution channels for each account before shoes are shipped. So basically, before anything can be shipped, both us and the licensing company has to agree on that. Here are the goals, right? So the goals for this licensing company was that the first year they would have 2 national online retail accounts and 20 national brick and mortar retailers. 2012, again, growing the number of online retailers, growing brick and mortar, getting into department stores and international distribution, and then 2013 going on beyond. So you're basically setting targets for this licensing company to do business with you. You don't want them to just, again, sit around, get the license for you, and not really perform. You want to have an aggressive timeline for them to grow the distribution so you all make money. Remember, you're only making 5 to 10% of the gross sales, so you want this to actually grow as fast as possible so that the dollars coming to you as the brand is significant. Let's see, now this is another important part for public relations and marketing. The licensing company shall agree to a quarterly budget of 15% of the previous quarter's gross sales. So if the company did $1 million in sales, they would have to set aside $150,000 for the following season and invest that into PR and marketing. Okay, so they have to support their business. They just can't rely on us as the brand to do all the marketing for them. Okay, another thing that you see in bold here is that the licensing company agrees to present the brand with a quarterly business review within 15 days of the previous quarter. This is just making sure you can stay on top of what they're doing, how they're growing, what hiccups they're seeing, and if there's anything that is going to be an issue, you can jump on it right away. And this review is including sales, marketing, product offerings, operations, logistics, etc. All right, section 1.2, protection and cooperation. Just basically saying that each party has to contact each other in writing if there's an infringement or potential infringement on the principal trademark. A mutual indemnification, basically both companies are indemnifying each other from claims, liabilities, etc. So for instance, if that licensing company t-shirt causes a fire, we as the brand will not be liable for that, and vice versa. If something happens with our footwear and someone tries to sue us, our trade partners, our licensing partners are not going to be hit with that lawsuit. Design services, Shane & Shawn will be exclusive designers for everything for this agreement. A lot of times licensing companies will provide their own design, but in this agreement we were going to provide the design. But I would tell you that in a traditional licensing agreement, the licensing company will do all of that in-house. Going on to payments, this is very important, as you can imagine. The licensing company will pay a 9% royalty to Shane & Shawn for all net sales. So we basically were demanding on the higher end of the sales royalties, and we outline how it should be paid in section 2.2. So basically, the licensing company will remit the payments on a quarterly basis within 15 days of the end of each quarter, after the end of each quarter. So for instance, first quarter, January, February, March, that means that by April 15th, we need to have a check from this licensing company. All right. Going on, confidentiality, basically anything that belongs to the licensing company, we will not infringe upon. Anything that belongs to the brand, they will not. Here is getting into, again, more legal talk. The term, important. We put out 2 years for this contract. I think that's pretty much should be standard for licensing and international distribution, because it's hard to really, the first year is going to be tough. They're introducing either new product categories or they're introducing the same product into a new country as the distributors are. So you want to give them time to really get to know the brand, the retailers get to know them, and the product offering. And by the second year, you should be able to tell if they can be successful, and they'll be able to tell if they're successful. They may not be a good licensing fit, but they'll probably know within the first 2 years. Okay. And then obviously, if there's a violation of the law, this just basically outlines if there's any legal harassment, gross negligence, that either party can cancel the agreement. Other terminations or anything that could constitute a termination is in here. Again, have your lawyer look through this before you send this out to anyone. You can see in section 4.3, effective termination. Upon any termination of this agreement for any reason, the licensing company will remain liable for any royalty payments due to Shane Sean. So, for instance, even if the contract is terminated by us, the brand, or by the licensing company, they still owe the royalties that are due, regardless. Okay. Just some definitions, etc. Net sales, what persons means. Miscellaneous. You're going into writing waivers, governing law. This was in New York. Jurisdiction, again, New York again. This would be wherever you are. So if you're a California company, you want this, even if you're working with a licensed company that's out of state, you want to make sure that if you're basically incorporated in a specific state, keep it in the state that you're incorporated in. And then you're going on to the signature page. So again, not the most exciting stuff when it comes to running your fashion business, but these are all necessary to protect yourselves. The templates I can send these to you if you want. Just contact me. I hope you guys have found this course very informative, and I would love if you could leave us 5-star reviews. Appreciate it. Leave me any comments and leave me any messages that you need. Thank you so much, and all the best with launching and growing your brand.